Whenever people start to learn English, the first thing many of us do is learning grammar, and that's exactly what I did. Back in my previous job, whenever I had to speak in English, I struggled badly. My English was terrible. I didn't even know the difference between do, does, did. Every time I faced a situation where English was required, I would go home determined to learn English properly. My flatmates had English novels and grammar books. So I thought if I want to read English, then I have to learn all the grammar rules first. Because back then it sounded logical to me. So I opened the grammar book and tried to memorize grammar rules, and every single time the same thing happened. I got overwhelmed, frustrated, and convinced maybe English was not for me. Even when I memorized a few grammar rules and felt good about it, I didn't listen to anything in English and I didn't watch English content. I would just try to read a book and I couldn't even get through a single page because I kept stopping to check grammar rules after every single sentence. And honestly, reading like that felt like torture. It hurt my brain. I wanted to throw the book away. This was all before the pandemic and streaming platforms were just becoming popular, and I had no idea what podcasts were. And honestly, I consumed 99% of content in my native language and only 1% in English, and that also mostly, motivational quotes on Instagram. So I wasn't watching English movies, English series, or listening to anything in English at all. But I was watching Hollywood movies, but all of them were dubbed into my native language. Yet somehow I expected myself to understand English books just by memorizing grammar rules. Whenever my friends who spoke good English told me watch movies, TV shows, interviews, that's how you learn, I used to argue with them, saying, why should I watch something I don't understand? Let me learn English first, then I will watch English content. I was completely wrong because the truth is, I never learned grammar. I never understood the rules. And memorizing grammar was the most unpleasant experience I have ever had. So finally, I decided to do what my friends were telling me. I started to watch Hollywood movies in English, not dubbed. To make it less painful, I started to watch Hollywood movies that I had already watched in my mother tongue. Since I already knew the story, I could focus more on listening. Even then, in every sentence, I could understand only one or two words, so I used subtitles. So eventually, I ran out of movies I had already watched. When I moved to new movies, subtitles became a nightmare. I spent the entire time reading the subtitles only. I only looked at the visuals when there was no dialogue. By then, I had gotten used to watching things directly in English, so I didn't go back to dubbed versions. And this is when everything changed. This is when I discovered the most iconic TV show of all time, Friends. I got hooked within the first few episodes. Then I became addicted. It became my routine. The characters started to feel like my own friends, and slowly I was becoming part of them. For the first time in my life, I felt emotionally connected to a TV show that wasn't in my mother tongue. When I reached to the final episodes, I slowed down to one episode a day because honestly, I didn't want it to end. And yes, I watched the entire series with the subtitles at first, but still, it wasn't easy for me. Each 25-minute episode took me 40 minutes to complete because I kept switching my eyes between reading the subtitles and looking at the visuals. And I missed so many dialogues, especially when Rachel Green, Jennifer Aniston, spoke. I don't know, maybe she spoke fast or her accent was hard for me. My vocabulary was extremely basic back then, so whenever I heard a new word, trust me, it happened almost every time. I stopped, I googled for the meaning, and I came back to the show. And that's how I completed my first ever English TV show, and it is still one of my favorites. By the way, I did not start with Friends. I think I started with Stranger Things first. But back then only 2 seasons were out. And that is one of the reasons I told you to watch sitcoms in my previous videos if you want to learn English faster. Because sitcoms have hundreds of episodes and filled with dialogues, and it's perfect for learners. After finishing Friends, I slowly started listening to podcasts, and again I started to watch Friends in English, but this time without subtitles. See, without subtitles, I was able to understand only 50 to 60 percentage. Yeah, because even though I watched the entire series, most of the time during my first watch, I paused, read subtitles, understood the joke, then I laughed. Only occasionally I did understand Chandler's joke instantly. Just because I loved the show, it doesn't mean I understood it easily. It took intense active listening, patience, and practice. But I fell in love with the characters. I mean, their love stories, their lifestyles, their relationships, and that love helped me improve. Sometimes I ask myself, if it weren't for Friends, would I have really started enjoying English content? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Many of my friends who speak good English don't like Friends. They say they can't tolerate shows with love tracks. But when I watched the Friends reunion, many people said they learned English by watching Friends. So maybe I was not alone after all. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked this video, please hit that like button and subscribe for more tips on how to improve English faster.